What happens when you're in a certain position or a certain industry and you realize it's not bringing you joy anymore? So earlier, Coach Apa said I was in economics, but then I moved to psychology. So what's your advice for our students here in the audience now in terms of if you feel like you don't belong in an industry and you need to move, or you feel like it's time for you to move, what would your advice be? Maybe we can start out. Let's go backwards. We can start with Coach Apa. If you feel like you don't
Sure.
belong in an industry, what would you do?
Parang relatable sa akin yan, di ba? No, but
Okay,
seriously,
perfect.
Bianca, when anybody feels that they don't belong to an industry, my first suggestion is to bloom where you're planted. Okay? I believe that there are no coincidences. Everything has a reason. God put you there. So the fact that you find yourself in an industry allows you to really explore how can I make a difference where I am now. So don't give up yet. Find out why you don't like it. Find out why it doesn't bring out the best in you. And while you're doing it, there is something called purposeful waiting. While you are there, have a purpose of making a difference. Now, you may discover things about you. And as a Gallup Strengths coach, now I believe that people can discover what is the uniqueness in them. You will see there are things that motivate you, and there are things that do not. There are people who prefer the desk job. There will be people who prefer sales field work. Find out how you can create an environment that will harness your talent. So if you do need to move, it's okay to move, but don't move just because you don't like it. Move because there's something bigger, something better, some bigger contribution that you can make. And make sure that it is aligned to who you are, because otherwise you'll just be moving and moving and moving. Always take each step as an opportunity to learn, not just about the industry, but also about yourself. And focus on the goal, just make a difference in the world.
I can always relate to Coach Apa. Kaya pala meron kaming connect. We're both psychology graduates. And like him, I used to move to different industries then. Telecoms, retail, academe, no? But in HR kasi, there's very, yung level kasi namin, no? Very flat yung organizational structure. So when you reach a certain level, like if you're a manager, ang sasabihin mo sa sarili mo, kailan kaya magre-retire yung boss ko para papalitan ko siya? Or else, there will be no changes sa current situation. So, what I would like to share is that every experience, every job that you are in has a beautiful story. It doesn't mean na nagja-job hop ka or you feel that you don't belong in one industry is a problem. You can feel it na it's time for me to move. I was able to put value in this company already and it's about time for me to move. Sabi ko rin, no, based on my experience, mainipin yata ako. I have not experienced being promoted in any of the company I worked for. That's true. What I did, naging career path ko and my strategy is to promote myself. Ang tagal kasi, so there are 2 years of experience, 5 years at the most. But every time I will move, kagaya ng sinabi ni Coach Apa, dapat mas greener pasture, no? So that's where I was able to be in this profession and in this level sa industry because I always see that when you have put all your effort and your value in one company, it's all do not be afraid kasi whatever you learn from the past and from your experiences will always help and guide you to bloom. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Divine. So bloom where you're planted. Yeah, that's great to hear. So I think on that note, we know that it's important to bloom where we're planted. But what if the pastures we're in or the greener pastures are continuously changing? I think it was mentioned earlier that the technical skills that some of us might have, they'll become irrelevant in the span of 2 years. So I think at this point, our next question is, how can the audience members, how can our educampions be prepared for those changing skills in the industry, what's your advice for them, knowing that the industries that they will pursue will constantly be changing? Siguro we can start with Prof. Jake muna.
Yeah, yeah, Bianca, definitely. I guess Divine and Coach Appa would agree, right? With the fast-paced, state of the industries and how things are constantly changing. Um, Having a vision of what a certain industry will look like maybe a year from now or 2 years from now is a picture that we can not paint, is something that we don't know. I mean, 3 years ago we didn't know that the pandemic would not just disrupt but really change, the way
Mm-hmm.
we live, the way we work, the way we see things. So who knows when the next pandemic or disaster or disruption will come. And so, Bianca, what I always tell groups who ask for advice or groups we support, to become high performing organizations or teams, is to focus on three skills, or what I call the three L's. First is learning skills, right? Kung may problema, have that mindset on how you can solve that problem. Think critically about the problem and have it in your mind that you will have to sit down and think of the solutions to those problems. So learning skills. Second is literacy skills. And when we say literacy, it's not just your read and write. It's how to use media and the information that you have and the technology at your disposal the right and meaningful way. I always tell my students in class, no, at this age and time, no, hindi na pwede yung sagot na hindi ko alam. Right? Laging may access to learn, laging may way to obtain information or material that can help you learn more about your industry or learn more about your career or your field. It's just how you use them that matters, and how you leverage on what you know so that they can help you build your career further. So that's the second one, literacy skills. And finally, Bianca, I think more than ever, we also would want to focus, as Coach Appa mentioned earlier, on life skills. No, when we engage in conversations with people, we want to explore how we can be flexible, how leadership potential can be brought out, how initiative can be triggered, and the social skills that someone will need to have in order to succeed. So learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills, bring them together, see specifically for what industry you want to focus on, and these will help you get through the most challenging of times when you're making these career decisions later on.
Okay. What about Miss Divine? Any advice for our students who are preparing to work? And what should they be focusing on given that the industry they choose can be constantly changing?
There's a lot of skills, no? Where for a specific level or position, every HR or an interviewer will always look for a specific skill set. And there are certain positions and professions that will require very specific and well-developed hard skills. So meron tayong tinatawag na hard skill, and we have also that mga soft skills, no? And without them, you would fail instantly. Ang hirap. So you have to know what are your hard skills and what are your soft skills. Well, the hard skills kasi, these are job specific, and nobody, I believe as an HR practitioner, nobody's born with them. Ano yan lahat laging natututunan. And siguro for the past 20 years, no, interviewing different personalities, different applicants, some of the major hard skills, no, that we're looking for are like the coding, budgeting, and as simple as mixing drinks in the hotel. It's a hard skill, no? Being a chef, you have to have a hard skill where you need years of experience to have that. While soft skills naman, prove you'd be a great fit everywhere. Yan. Yan yung mga una nating nababaon dyan, yung mga lakas ng loob at kapal ng mukha na binabaon natin from our families, where they will ask you to dance in front of your lolos and lolas. Di ba dyan nagsisimula yung mga soft skills natin eh. And some of the soft skills that I would like to share are the interpersonal skills, our communication, and what Prof. Jake and of course Coach Apa always they put value to this is the leadership. Yan yung mga part ng soft skills. And if you'll need to show the right mix of both for you to be able to get hired.
Okay, so to wrap it up, any last advice on that note, Coach Apa? How can we prepare for industries knowing that they will constantly be changing?
Sure. I think Divine, the people here are either students or teachers. Regardless, you are an educampion. You are here to speak up for learning, lifelong learning. There is always such a thing as the patterns of your past, and those are the patterns that will predict your future. So take a hard look at the patterns of the past that you are creating. Look at the spotlight on the strengths, right? Because however the world may change, the world will be sort of full of uncertainties. There will be challenges in whatever industry you choose. You will always go back to your patterns, the patterns that make you you. So did you know that, like from the strengths perspective, your talents, these can be replicated in someone else in the chance of 1 in 295 trillion. There is such a minute chance that your talents appear in someone else. So there is no better time to be you than today. And there's no one else in the world that will be you. So whatever you're facing as a student, as a teacher, in whatever industry, whatever problem that is, remember 3 Ds. Kung si Prof merong 3 Ls, ako may 3 Ds. Number 1, disruption. Nangyayari yan araw-araw. Be open to disruption. And if you can, be the disruptor. Don't wait for the world to disrupt you. Disrupt the world. The next letter D, discovery. Discover something that isn't even there. Be curious. Discover yourself. Discover the people around you. Armed with those disruptions and discoveries, you go to the third letter D, which is the defining moment. That defining moment is what you live for. That is how you will be remembered by everyone around you. That is your defining moment. Now, how can you make defining moments for other people regardless of your industry? So kahit magbago-bago yung industriya ninyo, just stick to those 3 Ds, disruption, discovery, and defining moments, and you're on the right track.